Tenant unions in Los Angeles are calling for an eviction moratorium due to the ongoing immigration enforcement in the region. I'm Tony, and this is Real Estate Investing and Landlord News. Alright, so I have a ridiculous article for you today, and once again, it's coming out of the great state of California, specifically Los Angeles. So, as anyone who watches the news knows, there's been ongoing immigration enforcement within the city, right? And the tenant unions are looking at this as an opportunity. An opportunity, you say? Well, why would they do that? Well, they think that this is the perfect reason to have an eviction moratorium. Now, obviously, that is ridiculous, okay? That's absolutely stupid and idiotic, and even putting this sort of thing into place would be darn near impossible, because you know what? The people who are paying for this are the U.S. citizens, and they are going to really not like it that you're going to give, a moratorium on evictions to a bunch of people who are not in the country legally. That's my personal opinion. I don't know. Maybe they'll be gladly. You know what? I'll gladly take this loss in rental income and let my neighbor not pay their rent because they're here illegally, and I want to make sure that they're able to stay. Maybe they can move in with you, right? I mean, if you don't mind them being here so much and you don't want them paying rent, then maybe they can move in with you. I don't know. I'm being ridiculous, of course. So before I get into the article, go ahead, hit the like, subscribe button, and leave a comment down below and let me know what you think. So, do you believe that people in the country illegally, they need to be protected by an eviction moratorium? Do you think this is a good idea, or do you think this is another dumb, idiotic, socialist idea by a bunch of dumb, idiotic socialists? I think you should know what my opinion is just by the way I worded that. Anyway, let me get into the article and tell you what it says. This article is coming from CBSNews.com, and it says, LA Tenants Union calls for eviction moratorium amid mass immigration enforcement operations. Let's get into it. The Los Angeles Tenants Union is calling on city officials to impose a rent moratorium as ongoing immigration enforcement operations continue to spread fear throughout the region. During a news conference on Tuesday, representatives of the LATU claimed that the presence of officers from Immigration and Customs Enforcement has had a noticeable impact on businesses, as many employees are scared to go to work while operations continue. Many self-employed immigrants have decided to stay home amid the ongoing situation, choosing to pass on much-needed money in favor of avoiding federal agents. I've brought it up in the past before, okay? I brought it up in the past that there could be consequences if you as a landlord decide to rent to people who are in the country illegally. And one of those consequences could be that those people just disappear, trash your place, don't pay you the rent owed, and there is no way that you'll be able to find them, because they don't exist on any of the normal records, okay? Now, some people still choose to rent to these people who are in the country illegally. I'm not going to do it because I'm afraid that not only do you take that huge amount of extra risk, but you're also possibly breaking federal law on top of that, okay? And I don't want to take the risk of them coming down on me because I wanted to make a few extra bucks. Besides, there are plenty of legal immigrants, legal U.S. citizens, and people in the country legally who you can rent to. You do not have to rent to them, okay? If they are the bottom of the barrel people and they're the only option available, then I don't know what kind of market you're in, because that's insane. That's absolutely insane. But that's my personal choice. You can do whatever you want, but like I said, follow the law. That is what the most important thing is. If your municipality says A, B, C, well, you need to be doing A, B, and C. Do not break the law thinking you can get away with it. And as far as I can tell, federal law says, hey, you can't be doing this. Anyway, let me continue. We know that many tenants will not be able to pay their rent come July 1st, said one LATU representative who says she's undocumented. Why? Because this militarization of our community has closed down businesses, taken away street vendors, separated families, and then people cannot pay their rent. They have barely the minimum to survive. Yeah, well, you know what? It's odd that the person in the tenant union who is begging for this socialist policy isn't even in the country legally. So this would directly benefit her. So somebody would be directly benefited by a proposed eviction moratorium and they want it. Gee, you wonder why she wants it passed so badly? Like I said, when it comes to these tenant rights groups, right, the only thing they're not doing what's best overall for anybody. They want specifically them. They want, their benefit. They want their handout from the government. They want free rent. They want whatever they can get, whatever they can take, I should say. So think about that before, you really take a look at passing stupid laws like this. Now, my suggestion would be ban all eviction moratoriums. I believe that some states have moved in that direction to say, hey, you know what? Eviction moratoriums are illegal unless they're passed by the state legislature, and it's very difficult for that sort of thing to pass in most states. Now, maybe in California, that sort of thing would pass, but, the problem is, though, that you go down to some of these cities or counties and municipalities and they run them like they're little kingdoms, and they feel like they can do whatever they want. And rather than being held accountable by not just the voters, but also the taxpayers, they say, oh, well, we're going to do what we want anyway. And that's what my big gripe is. So the taxpayers, the business owners, the people who are actually contributing to the community, they suffer. And when they suffer too much, you know what's going to happen. They leave. So what happens to a city when you see all of the people who are, with money or providing jobs or whatever, when they leave? Look at Detroit and you can see, okay? Look at places like St. Louis. And I'm not saying that these places are completely dead, but, they lost huge portions of their population and they declined greatly. And that's what's going to happen to a place like Los Angeles. So anyway, let me continue with this article. The concern comes as Trump administration cracks down on unauthorized immigration throughout the country, with much of the initial enforcement coming out of LA County. According to an exclusive report by CBS News on Tuesday, internal government data shows that as many as 59,000 detainees are currently being held throughout the nation, a likely record. President Trump has defended the action, claiming that leaders in cities run by Democrats use undocumented immigrants to expand their voter base, cheat in elections, and grow the welfare state, robbing good-paying jobs and benefits from hard-working American citizens, he wrote on Truth Social. The administration has not provided evidence to support those claims. Common sense. Do we need to look at common sense? Those claims are true, okay? Any moron can figure that out. But the people, they ignore the truth, they ignore the facts, and they don't want to admit to themselves that, hey, illegal immigration has these effects on communities, on the nation as a whole. And there shouldn't be an island where these people are immune to the law, okay? And that's all it really is. So hopefully the people in Los Angeles, the landlords in Los Angeles, they're still getting paid their rent and that they don't pass this stupid eviction moratorium that's being proposed by illegal aliens. Okay? Anyway, tell me what you think of this whole situation in the comment section down below.